Hi, I'm Michael Matsuzaka, right hand of the brilliant Dr. Crimson. Thank you for tolerating my little hiatus recently. I was feeling demotivated, but what brought me back was a surprising notification that Green Ronin Publishing has subscribed to me, and on learning about that, I was just beside myself with surprise. So a special thanks to them for joining the Matsuzakas. Have you ever considered running a campaign in the Mushroom Kingdom? Think about it. Mario's world can accommodate so many character types comfortably. Your Dungeons & Dragons OC, mad scientists like me, it can do so many things. If you want to be traditional about it though, let's expound on 3 of its best known character types. Of course we have to start with the Super Plumber. Mine is PL10 and is focused on combat and adventuring. They're not stupid, but you generally don't go to them for information outside their expertise. Beyond that, their stats should generally be set up so that they may act independently of a group. For power-ups, I settled on a variable that's easily removed but requires a perception check beforehand. This gives us the power to find powers. I would encourage telling your GM this well ahead of time so he can decide what power-ups are possible to find, and you will have to make multiple since you're only getting so much out of your variable effect from your perception check. You want more than the invincibility star to find. I think the only surprise here in skills is that I did not specify an expertise. This could be replaced with vehicles if you have a go-karting thing going on, or something that sets your plumber apart. Mario's would be medicine, Luigi's would be supernatural affairs, Wario's would be video games. You see where I'm going with this. I made this Super Princess PL10 after considering Peach, Daisy, and Rosalina, still capable of getting into a fight, but is better used as a support character. They're not scientists, but they are highly intelligent with all the leadership qualities, which we'll get into later. I've seen Peach's heart magic used for a variety of tasks, such as causing sleep in Smash Bros, launching Bowser in Bowser's Inside Story, and I would assume she'd be able to use this for healing and fulfilling any other plot requirement. On top of this, the Super Princess can summon a Toad, Luma, or some other similar pawn to launch at whoever approaches your abode. And looking at advantages, depending on the nature of your Super Princess, you can move these details around, of course. If you're more like Rosalina, I encourage switching out wealth with new features on your headquarters, namely isolated, space travel, and maybe increased toughness for the occasional asteroid, unless Lumas somehow take care of that. I always wondered. Koopaling PL8. Having a job much like Bowser Jr.'s myself, this was my personal favorite of these 3 projects, but it was also the most difficult to pick out stats for. They seemed to go from dumb and weak to smart and strong, leaving me to take a best guess on how they all average out. I chose to believe the player's Koopaling would be somewhere between the plumber and the princess for the most part. In the very least, it needs to be able to take a couple hits from a super plumber for accuracy. All Koopalings have 2 powers, that is, the Shell and Fire Breath. You might consider adding a feature to this shell for being able to withdraw into it, or the Whirling Fortress thing by adding multi-attack to it. If you work for Bowser, you obviously have contacts and connections, but it's important to note that your average Koopaling is adept at magic. I recommend the Artificier advantage for constructing more of the clown cars or that one device that sets your evil plan apart. For this one, I chose to make it a proper boss fight complete with a castle with traps. I assume there's a means of communications for sending orders and contacting higher-ups, and for populating the fortress, I opted to give it minions. I personally like mine controlled to save me headaches, but looking back, adding active might have been more realistic instead. For Clown Car, I simply took the sample airplane and subtracted a size rank. Some of you are going to ask for monkey characters like Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong, but I find they're too versatile for me to take a stab at. And as for Yoshi, you might consider his stomach to be a close-range snare effect with the advantage of a reach modifier. I'm sure that tongue is around 5 foot. Anyway, let's do this again sometime.